onto a much more boring topic. This is about oil exploration, and I did mine over the ANWR, the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge in Alaska. Pretty much what I'm going to tell you is the pros and cons of oil exploration there, my analysis of the pros and cons, and pretty much summing up the 30-year debate that's still continuing today in regards to oil exploration in the ANWR, Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. How the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge was established was in 1980, Jimmy Carter signed into law the ANILCA, which is the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act. And it pretty much gave protection, government protection to all wildlife. Over 100 million acres in Alaska provided government protection for that wildlife there in the environment. But the 1002 area, which you see up there, was established by this bill because in this bill, in Section 1002, they deferred the people in charge of it, Jimmy Carter and the Department of Interior, deferred management of that area specifically due to finding possibly large amounts of oil underneath the soil. So, of course, now we have come to a point where we are sick of getting foreign oil because we believe that we are supporting or potentially supporting terrorists that could cause a threat or pose a threat to USA national security. It is the ANWR, Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, is 19 million acres. The 1002 area, which they are wanting to explore for oil, is 1.5 million acres. But this is a very what am I trying to say? It's a very fragile ecosystem because the dramatic climate change. It can cause habitats to extinct quickly, and of course if oil exploration is going on there, that will even make the process more rapid. So they think that if you were to enter that area, environmentalists think that you would rapidly increase extinction of animals like caribou and polar bears, which reside there. Also, thousands and thousands of indigenous people reside there as well. And continuing on, oil is natural but a non-renewable resource. In regards to this area, it's beautiful and it has never been touched by the government for oil exploration. Even after 30 years of debate, they have not explored any of the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge for oil. I'm about to show you some pictures again. It's some elk in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. That's polar bear. And this is called a vibrator truck. What they do for seismic testing, this is prior to exploration for drilling for oil. They do extensive amounts of tests with big explosions that can scar the land for decades and decades and decades, which obviously that's a long-term con of oil exploration here. When the vibrator truck releases the explosion, it sends off a signal, seismic waves, down to the oil underneath the land, and a recording truck is the one that receives all the results. And that's why this has been deferred for later Congress to decide whether or not to drill for oil, is because we found out that we could potentially grab a lot of oil from it. In regards to what oil is and what it does and how it benefits us as Americans, and an article created by the Environmentally Conscious Consumers for Oil Share stated that it's used for transportation, fuels, asphalt, military and defense, fertilizer, etc., etc., etc. It just keeps going. And within that article, the source Energy Information Administration stated 2/3 of oil goes to our fuel for like jet fuel, diesel, and just car fuel and stuff like that, gasoline. So of course this would be something we want to do in regards to oil exploration there, because we feel that we would benefit a lot from it. It would support fuel, which is the main thing we are built on, and heating and cooling of utilities and houses, and of course construction, and it goes on into various categories. So what I'm about to tell you is the pros and cons of oil exploration. That's pretty much what it would look like in my head if they explored for oil. It just destroys the land completely. This is an example from Canada, the burial forest before and after exploration for oil. And in regards to pros, which is where we are now, these are political cartoons stating that, as you can see, it says, what can we do about gas prices sitting on a barrel with Arctic National Wildlife Refuge right down there. They want to provoke Obama or whoever's in charge to search for oil there, because the conservative side of America sees this as an alternate energy source. It sees this as we can rely on ourselves, on our own landmarks, rather than relying on foreign oil. And how this is a pro is economic gains. We can get jobs and fuel, and then it's also a safe source of energy because it's in America. Positive sociological impact, which means better schools and better health care in the oiling communities. Alternative energy source, as I said, no dependence on foreign oil. And then also an increased national defense. Now when you hear that, how is that a pro of this, of oil exploration in the Arctic National Wildlife Region? We believe that the more money we spend transporting oil from foreign countries, that we could potentially be supporting terrorists or communists that pose a threat to America. And completely taking that out and using our own resources, we feel that our defense would be increased as well. But in my analysis, I feel that the cons completely overtake all the pros. I only say this because it can cause negative sociological impact in the oil drilling communities, because with a lot of money, with a lot of income, of course, bars and hip new restaurants come into the oiling communities, and this is directly linked to diabetes and alcoholism. So just problems within the oil drilling communities. Pollution as well is the big one, because drilling that deep into the Earth's core can release nitrogen oxides and cause acid rain or smoke. It also endangers animal habitat by the seismic testing and the sounds produced by oil exploration can cause the animals to leave their natural habitat, causing more appearances with people, which is dangerous for both parties, and also can cause extinction or lead to extinction eventually. So, my analysis of this was the lack of choice, I feel, because provided by the healthresearchfunding.org, there has been 12 anti-wilderness bills in progress right now through our Congress, and 0 pro-wilderness bills have been passed by Congress, so they're not even in progress. 27 have been put through trying, though. Also, it's a short-term benefit, because the highest expected amount of oil that can be drawn from the Arctic National Wildlife Region is 9.2 billion barrels, which will only last America 1 year. So, would we cause decades and decades and decades of destruction to the environment and to one of the last intact refuges of America for a 1-year short-term benefit? And I'd like to conclude this with a quote by Elizabeth Morrison from the article found in the Penn Collegian newspaper. In our increasingly global economy, the use of the greatest natural resource, land, is all of our responsibility. Meaning that oil might be a non-renewable resource, but land is as well. So we have to conserve it while we can. Thank you.